Okay, everyone, welcome. Welcome to the Black Carnivore live stream. I'm really excited to be here tonight with you all. So please hit that like button, subscribe, and and sit down and come on in and enjoy. Let's get started. So first off, I want to make sure you can hear me because I was messing around a little bit with the sound. So please, can you put a thumbs up or write something in the comments letting me know that you can hear me? Because I don't want to continue without you being able to hear. So go ahead, everybody. Put something in the chat. And yeah, and let's get started. So, welcome. So, today I want to talk about keto versus carnivore. And I think this is actually a really great topic. And I really want to dive in because I see a lot of people starting to ask this question. What's better? Is keto, does keto even work anymore? And I think it's important to kind of dive in. Oh, okay, great. You all can hear me. Great, great. Okay, so tell me, I'd actually love to hear from you guys. How many of you actually started with keto before you heard about or transitioned into carnivore? And what did you guys think of keto? So I had actually heard of keto years before. I started with it in I guess that was the 90s when the fourth iteration of the Atkins book came out, and that was kind of the first time I like gave it a full-on try, and I actually liked it a lot. I did pretty well with it. Although I didn't know at the time about electrolytes, and that was definitely a problem for me. So had I known and been using more salt, it would have been much more comfortable, and it would have worked much better. So that was my first, interaction with keto. So, okay, hey, welcome. It's awesome to see you, Frank and Michael and Leach family and Still I Rise and Irene, welcome, and Vanessa, Terry, Susie, welcome. Okay, so Susie, you said you started with keto. Yeah, so I feel like, carnivore is kind of like, it's a huge leap to kind of make this decision to eat a plant-free diet. I was actually listening to a podcast with Dr. I think his name is Andrew Chaffee today, and he describes himself as being on a plant-free diet, which I like it. It's a nice way of talking about it. But yeah, it's quite a lot to kind of jump into a carnivore diet. So I feel like it's more common to see people do keto first because when you go keto, you're already sort of breaking down these barriers of like thinking about how much fat you're having, about eating more meat. You're already kind of pushing back against this notion about sugar being a requirement for life. And so, I mean, when you go through keto first, your mind's already sort of open enough to even hear this message about carnivore and then decide, whether you want to give that a try. So I think it's good, to do keto, and I think it was helpful for me. I mean, thank God I did that. Thank God. Hey, Johnny G, welcome. Terry says, I did and did well 14 years ago. With all the junk keto products out now, I think folks can get misled. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And actually, that's going to be the point that, one of the first points that I make is, the ease and the ease and simplicity of the carnivore diet versus keto. And I think that has a lot to do with all of these products. Hey, Mommy Does Keto, welcome. Hey, Terry, so awesome to see you. Um, Mommy Does Keto. Oh yeah, you do love Dr. Chaffee. Yeah. I've gone through periods where I listened more or less to different people on different podcasts, and so lately I've been listening to more, and so it's been kind of fun, to hear these different perspectives on on carnivore and how you do it and the way to do it. And I definitely hear a lot of people, really struggling with like how different the messages are from the different, influencers and doctors and leaders in the field. And and so I really appreciate how confused you guys can feel. And frustrated because I kind of felt that too. And when it really wasn't until I finally said, I'm just not listening to anybody anymore, that I felt more comfortable and and able to to do it and not feel so stressed out. So so that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, though. Hey, MJ, welcome. Um, Michael says, greetings from Concord, California. Any other black carnivores in Northern California would love to start a meetup. Awesome. Michael, I totally want you to do that. So yes, post and, make sure that you get something up and take pictures. Okay, Animal Base RDH says, hi, I started with Keto IF. Leech family, thank you. I so appreciate your support. Thank you. And Daisy B, thank you. Welcome. So glad you are here. Kalila says, I tried keto 2 years ago and it didn't work for me. I've juiced off and on, and I 180'd from juicing into carnivore 20 days ago. Wow, that is a 180 completely. So best nutritional decision you've ever made. What actually made you decide to do that? I mean, were you feeling sick with all the juicing, or what made you do that? Because I would feel like I mean that is a really big jump. Daisy, yeah, loving the lip color. Thank you. Yeah, this is a lip color from MAC, and I really liked it. It wasn't, yeah, I really like it. It's a little different from what I normally do, but yeah, I'm trying to experiment with some different colors. So there you go. Um, so Terry asks if anyone here is from Middle Tennessee. Let's go hang out and get a steak. Absolutely. I encourage you, all of you, if you're in the Black Carnivore Facebook group, put a post up, say where you're from, ask if anybody is from, nearby and that you want to do a meetup. I totally encourage that. I think it's important for us to catch up. And I still need to get back to organizing our own Black Carnivore meetup, which, well, we were hoping to do in either June or October. So I still do want to do that. I think, we all need to get together as much as we can as humans. I mean, in real life. So I would love that. Okay, so animal-based RDH says, just ate steak and lobster tails for lunch. Love this way of eating. Oh my God, I'm so jealous of you. That's awesome. That sounds like an amazing, amazing meal. Betsy says, hi, Ade, saying hello from England. I should be asleep by now. Oh, Betsy, thank you so much for, sacrificing some of your sleeping time to be here. I really appreciate all of you who are here. And I think it's so awesome that, so many of you from around the world are here. I've always been interested in travel and other places and other countries. And so, it's really cool that to create a space that people from around the world want to participate in. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Oh my God, Mommy does keto. Thank you so much. So appreciate the sticker. Wow. Yes, and this is, it's like your support that helps to keep this channel going and helps me to continue to do these interviews and bring content that's hopefully educational and motivational and helps you to stay on track. And I feel like this week's interview with Mary was just so amazing. I mean, she was really amazing. How, how much work she put into turning her life around. And I was just so impressed. So I hope that that was motivational for you. And we're going to keep cheering her as she continues to bring her A1C down. But anyway, thank you, Mommy Does Keto. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate having you here each and every week. Um, Thank you. Let's see. Kalila says, after a while, my energy levels would deplete. I'd usually supplement with something sugary like rice milk with Ovaltine. I stumbled across Dr. Berry, and the rest is history. Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm glad that you got away from the juicing, and welcome to our side. So the first thing to talk about, as it relates to keto versus carnivore, I think, the number one thing that makes me say carnivore is best, is better than keto in the category of ease and simplicity is, one, you don't have to do macros. Two, you don't have to count calories or portion size or anything. Three, there's no counting, carbs or anything like that. And four, like the meals are so simple if you want them to be. I mean, they can be complicated if you want, but the meals can be so simple. There's not, only one thing to cook really. And and it's so filling and amazing and so on. So it's that level of ease and simplicity that I really enjoy. And I feel like I spent years of my life, just years, counting either calories or, measuring and paying attention to what I was having and writing it down. And I had a little book where I meticulously wrote all of these things down. And over time, I just got tired of it. Like I didn't want to track like that. And when I was at Weight Watchers, there were some people who were really meticulous. And this woman came in. I mean, I think she said she was 99. She was a dancer. She was, very careful to keep her weight exactly at the right place. And I saw some of her booklets and everything. And I thought it was so awesome that, first of all, she was the age that she was, and that she was still very physically active and she kept her body up. But also the level of focus it took to do that, it was just kind of like, oh my God, is this my choice? Like, is this how it has to happen? What I love about carnivore is it doesn't feel like it has to happen that way. It feels much um, more natural. So what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that, carnivore is easier or more simple, or, can keto be that way? I mean, I felt like keto was that way or well, was more simple at least in the beginning, because there weren't a whole lot of products. There weren't bars, there weren't, candies, there were, some fat bomb recipes. Yeah, people were talking about that, but there wasn't really a lot else. And so, it was like vegetables and meat, and that was kind of it. So I felt like, it wasn't too complicated, and I didn't get, deterred or strayed too far in, eating crazy things. But now when I look out at the products that are out there, I'm just like, oh my God, like I don't know how anybody does it. I would be a mess. And I've definitely seen people who are like, well, I just had a conversation with someone who is saying that she is doing keto and for the first time. And, the way she's doing it, there's a shake, I think, for lunch. There's some kind of bar for breakfast, a shake for lunch, and then a sensible dinner. And I was like, that's sounding a lot like, what was it, Slim Fast? So, um, I don't know, I was like, that is not really food, or at least not a lot of real food. But so yeah, if it were that, like, I know that's the kind of thing where you're doing that for a set period of time. I mean, nobody's gonna, eat shakes forever. And you're gonna buy, like, I don't know, 6 weeks of that, and then you'll whatever it's gonna happen is what's gonna happen. So I feel like that, that part of, like, the, I guess, the internet style keto is, it sucks. Like, it's just setting people up to, to not be able, not only to not succeed, but to not be able to envision a keto as a part of a healthy lifestyle. Um, okay, Lisa says, I'm ketoing, but interested in carnivore. Awesome. Welcome. Glad you are here. Um, so tell us what interests you, or what does interest you about carnivore? What's appealing to you? Daisy B says the tracking is too much for me as well, and I need to be easy. Kalila says definitely carnivore for me. I love not having to track anything. Yes, yeah. And Mommy Does Keto says keto is definitely more complicated, especially when getting into intricate recipes and replicating regular foods with the keto version. I'm super simple ketovore and love it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I really struggled with the cooking part. So I did not, do a lot of those kind of recipes where you're trying to replicate things. And when I had things like that, I definitely, I ended up falling off the deep end. So I know it is not for me. It is, that was not something I could do all the time. Daisy B says the problem with keto for me is the excessive reliance on plant-based fats and dishes. I didn't like what I was finding out about plants. Yeah. hmm It was hard for me to believe that stuff about the plants. And so I just kind of, uh, I kind of let that info, I listened to it, but I didn't quite believe it. But it wasn't until I started feeling all of these changes and feeling so much better on carnivore that it was like, oh, okay, this is a real thing. This isn't just some like made up stuff. So, yeah. Susie says animal based is easier than clean, no processed food keto. Cooking is way simpler. Yeah, totally. Now, when I was reading that, I was thought you were going to say animal based is easier to clean, and I was thinking that's the one thing that it is not. I love an animal based diet, but it is so messy, and that is one thing I hate. My stove is, always covered in fat, and there's, and I really need to clean the walls more and all of that. So that is the one downside. Um, but there's downsides to everything. Virgo lady says keto with products is hard and misleading. Totally, absolutely. And I kind of got to the point at the end of my keto days. I was basically, I was basically saving my carbs for wine and chocolate and nuts. So it was, I mean, it wasn't a healthy keto. And frankly, I don't know that I would say that was much different than like, saving my carbs for, Quest bars and I don't know, chips or something, keto chips. Like it was not good, So I could see how on keto with some of these treats, like you can stay, under 50 grams, but it's like it's just not a good experience. Yeah. Um, so Virgo lady says, Um, I enjoy both keto and carnivore meals and days. While at relatives, friends' homes, when they ask what I eat, I just say meat. Internally, I laugh at the puzzle looks on their faces. Yeah, yeah. Now you can start saying you're on a plant-free diet, and they'll be like, "Oh, okay, you're vegan." Like people won't hear that free part. Um, Lisa, okay, so listening to Dr. Barry and me made you interested in carnivore. Awesome. I'm so glad that I was able to pique your interest. That's awesome. Um, and yeah, Susie, there's more dishwashing. Awesome, Huddy Main. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. This is, this is so helpful, and I really appreciate all the support that you guys give. So you've lost 75 pounds so far, and keto is your cheat meal, and OMAD carnivore works for you. So that's awesome. Congratulations. That is spectacular. Tell us how it feels, and how you've enjoyed the journey. That's really cool. And how a lot of people settle on OMAD, so I'd love to hear what you think about that as well. Um, Mommy Does Keto says that's a good point. By saving carbs, we're missing out on real nutrition. That's right. I mean, you can make the argument that all of the plant foods that you are eating, it reduces the amount of meat that you're eating, which is the most nutrient dense food. So you're missing out on nutrients the more plant stuff that you include. So yeah. Hey Jay, welcome. So glad to see you. Daisy, welcome. Or yes, congrats to Huddy. That's awesome. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts initially on on carnivore. I don't want to be totally down on keto though, because I did lose my weight on keto. I did it for a long time. It was really helpful, and it is helpful for a lot of people. But it's like I think for some people, like the carnivore approach might be an easier place to be. Full time. And for other people, it is a nice place to kind of, shift back and forth to. So I do also say to people, like, you don't have to stay carnivore forever. There's no prize for being more strictly carnivore. There's no card, there's no club, there's no dues, there's no nothing. So, you do as much as you want to. But there are a lot of benefits to being very strict with it, and I do enjoy being more strict with it than rather than less. So I think that it's definitely worth trying and being really strict and seeing how that feels. Um, yeah. So the next thing that I thought about in terms of keto versus carnivore is it was the ease and simplicity, and then um, the healing power. So when I first started, I mean, everybody was saying how, keto was miraculous and it was healing all of these things. And people were talking about my skin tags are disappearing. My skin looks so much better. I have so much more energy. And, all of these stomach aches and long time problems are disappearing. And so when I got on keto, I was like looking for these things, and I felt a lot better. I mean, I don't want to undersell keto at all. So I did feel a lot better. I had no my aches and pains went away. My inflammation, a lot of inflammation went away. I felt a lot more energetic and just generally happy and so on. So yeah, keto was great in that respect, but I still struggled a lot with my allergies and asthma and eczema. So for me, like I needed to go another step, and the further step was, well, I went carnivore, and then I also took out dairy. And I did those kind of in separate steps, and so I could see that carnivore was definitely an improvement for me, but I needed the no dairy part. Like that was what brought, skyrocketed my energy, my, how I felt and all of that. Um, so I think it is a good idea for everybody to try going no dairy. Doesn't mean you have to stay there. Just try it and see. And I think a lot of people have assumptions about what will happen, but you don't know. The only way you can see is to just do it and see what happens. But I think people um, have very strong feelings about letting things go. I think we all feel like we've let a lot of things go in our lives. We've let a lot of the things that we love to eat, that we rely on emotionally. We've let all of these things out of our lives. So I know it's hard to let go of like one last thing, although that it in and of itself is a good signal or a sign about our relationships with food. But but yeah, I think it's you still just got to try and see, and then you can go back to eating it. Like, just because it's a problem doesn't mean you have to make a decision to do anything about it. You can just know that, and then go back to eating it. Okay. Valerie, good evening. Thank you. That's awesome. Okay, more congratulations for Huddy. That's awesome. Thank you. You're here. Welcome. And Vanessa says, when I first heard about carnivore from Dr. Barry, I thought it was just for weight loss. I didn't realize how much my back pain would heal. Oh, wow, that's so cool. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a healing method. It is even more so, I feel like, than weight loss. Whenever, when I work with people, through coaching programs, I I see every time that like, healing is what happens first and then weight loss. And so often we think we have to lose weight to get healthy, but I remind people, it's not the weight loss that's getting you healthy. It's like bringing the insulin down, allowing your fat to be mobilized, allowing the inflammation to, to dissipate. Like these are the things that allows you to be able to lose weight. So it's not the weight loss that caused them, it's the removing the sugar and the carbs first off, yeah, and then the vegetable oils and seed oils. So so you gotta like let the healing happen, and then the weight loss will happen, at the rate that it wants to. Yeah. Okay. Yes. This is a great point. Carnivore is keto. I know that I created this false dichotomy there, but yes, a ketogenic diet and carnivore diet is also a ketogenic diet. And so I do think that that is important to note. And I probably should have, sort of indicated a keto, internet keto diet. So that people are clear. But yes, we're all in the low carb family or carb restricted family, and we're all burning fat for energy rather than sugar. So that's a great point. And Virgo lady says, yes, I'm attached to dairy, laughing out loud. I may try an elimination diet one day. Yeah, I think it's worth doing. And frankly, I didn't know that this was going to impact my asthma. I thought that my stomach was going to be the thing that was, that I was going to see it, or see some difference there. I thought, that I would like it would clear up like gastrointestinal distress, but that's not what happened. My asthma went away, which is a completely different thing. I was not expecting that at all. So, yeah. Pat says I gave up dairy for 40 days of Lent, missed out on free pizza at work today. Well, okay. Sorry about that, Pat, but you are going to feel so much better. And tell me, how are you feeling without having the dairy in there? Are you noticing any differences? It's been what, a week now? Feels like so much longer, but yeah, so you've had a little time there. How are you feeling? Is there a difference? Hey, Kimberly, welcome. Yeah. So yeah, the healing power. I would love for you all to just give testimony. What's the healing that you have experienced? Just put it in the chat box. I'm sure everyone would want to hear it. So many of us like really, a lot of people are really struggling with their with health, and they really need to hear about people who have had success and have found a way of eating. And I do try to tell people, like, it's up to you, how you want to eat, because you're the one who has to figure out how to fit this into your lifestyle. You're the one who has to eat this way. So it's up to you to find something that's sustainable for a lifetime. And I think I think that all the counting that's what's not sustainable. But eating a carnivore diet, that level of easiness that is sustainable, in fact. So, so yeah, just I think that people kind of ease into carnivore just because it is so easy, and some people just kind of get tired of doing the hard stuff. And I have to say, I would notice like some of the long-term keto people like would just start having carnivore days, mostly because they just, didn't feel like making a salad, didn't feel like making some vegetables, and they just didn't. And they would go a couple of days and it was like, wow, I guess this is what kind of happens. Yeah. Um, So Mommy Does Keto says plantar fasciitis, that was what healed. But what is geographic tongue? I've never heard that before. Do you have mountains and lakes and cities on your tongue? That would be so fascinating. Yeah. Okay, Pat Jacob says, it's been a week and my sinuses are much better. I had severe postnasal drip. That's awesome. Okay. So, yeah, you got some real information there. So, I'd love to see over time, like how far the healing goes. It could be, it could be quite significant. Okay. So, Learning Daily says, does no dairy mean no butter as well, or do some people still do well with butter? That is a great question, and I know on the top of many people's minds. So when I did this, I took out all dairy, and I had no butter for like 6 months. And then I started having ghee occasionally. I was still worried about like maybe triggering, a reaction by having it too much, so I didn't have it very much. And then I started having some butter, and then I had it more often. So, and I haven't had any trouble or reaction with it. So I think butter is fine for me, but you all got to test it for yourself. And that being said, I also have never tested raw dairy products. I'm not going to do that, but other people rave about them. So, it's possible that um, raw cheese would be okay, whereas regular cheese is not going to be. So I don't know. Susie says gut issues and fibromyalgia pain are so much better. That's awesome. That is amazing. So I hear that a lot too. Pain, chronic pain, like that's a major problem for people in this country, and and it's basically it just gets treated with drugs. So hence, our latest drug crisis. But uh, yeah, I am so glad that you found relief this way. Jay says, my allergies disappeared when I gave up dairy. My sinuses were so much better as well. Yeah, awesome. MJ says, I do home hemodialysis, and since I've been animal based, I have the energy to run at the gym for up to 40 minutes and without getting tired, and my skin is very clear and I have good muscle tone. That's awesome. That is really great. Wow. So Terry says, no shoulder pain. Can tell my achy legs are healing, not as achy. Muscles starting to feel stronger. Great. Um, that is fantastic. And and Pat says I was having severe pain in my eye, and the ophthalmologist said it was my sinuses. Oh God, yeah. I remember those sinus headaches, so painful and like just soul crushing, and nothing cleared them up except for Sudafed. Um, yeah, so there you go. Um, so you have, so wow, you have so many wonderful, wonderful healing stories here. So I love that. So if you're watching this in the replay, definitely look through the chat and look at all the different ways that people have found healing. But, carnivore really turns people's lives around. Keto, I think that people do find healing on keto. But for some of us, there's a lot going on, and there's, we just do better when we do a much stricter, diet, it just, it allows us to get more healing in. We're removing more of the things that are irritating. So if you feel like, you feel better on keto, but you had hoped for more, or hope for better healing, I would give a carnivore diet a try. So, yes. And then finally, so I think in the category of ease and simplicity, I feel like carnivore wins. And in the category of healing, I think carnivore also wins. But in the category of weight loss, I'm not sure. I think it's a toss up, or keto might even come in faster. So, this is something I have to tell people over and over again. On a carnivore diet, like, it just, the scale doesn't move the way that you're used to. And so very often people are losing inches, they're losing, their clothes are getting looser, but nothing's happening on the scale. So when that is the case, you just kind of have to put it outside of your mind and just be happy with the successes that are happening, and that's it. So tell me what you guys are thinking. Unfortunately, as we get older, weight loss is slower. It just is. And when you hit menopause, things happen, your body starts changing, and it just does. So, that's really frustrating, but it just gonna take longer, but we can get there. And I also think that some of the age stuff is really about the years that we have spent under eating, restricting, and causing our bodies to ramp down our metabolism, because we were not providing enough food. And so now that we're eating a really nutrient dense diet, that's great, but we have to, I think there's a lot of work there to, incorporate fasting and also eating more, so that we're stimulating our body, and, allowing the body to feel secure that there is a lot of abundance. So, yeah, so that's kind of the struggle there. Um, Okay, so Kimberly says you cut the keto bread. Yeah. Yeah. So, oh my gosh. The breads, the almond flour thingies, and all of those sorts of products are just they're really trouble. They're really trouble. Meat with milk and with organic honey, coupled with 24 to 48-hour dry fasting. Yeah, so that is your approach. Let's see. Jay says having whipping cream is the culprit. Um, so yeah, okay, Terry, great question. So eggs are not dairy. Eggs are not milk. Eggs are from a totally different animal. I know that people talk about eggs and dairy, but eggs are not dairy. It's a different animal. So perfectly fine to eat, unless you have an allergy. Okay. Daisy says, I feel better in my joints. Getting up and walking isn't as stiff. Oh, that's great. Better digestion and no weird feelings. Good, good. Welcome, Andre. Love to see you from Brazil. Oh my God, Franklin, thank you so much for this super chat. This really, really means a lot to me. So Franklin says, Doc wanted to give me a statin for elevated cholesterol, didn't ask me what I was eating, and said nothing about my high HDL, low triglycerides, or 4.5 A1C. I told him, no, thanks. All right. So, Frank, that is amazing. And first of all, A1C 4.5. That is fantastic. I cannot believe the doctor said nothing about that. Nothing. I mean, if for nothing else, it is unbelievably, oddly, remarkably low. Like, that stands out next to all of the other pre-diabetic and diabetic people that are coming in. So, that's really frustrating when you work so hard and you do like these really great things for your body, and your doctor doesn't notice, doesn't care, or I don't know. So, I'm sorry your doctor didn't, congratulate you properly, but I give you massive flowers. And to all of you who have achieved great health success. Congratulations and good job. Good job. Um, okay, Kimberly says, I think keto gives me a sort of break. Yeah, I guess, you could sort of treat that as your cheat meal or something like that. Um, Animal-based RDH says geographic tongue is an inflammatory condition of the tongue. New research suggests that it may be caused from leaky gut and vitamin D3 deficiency. That is interesting. Okay. Wow, I did not know that. Um, yeah. So, um, So yeah, as far as weight loss goes, I think that for some people, carnivore, they lose the weight and boom, like they change the diet and right away they're losing all the weight. But for other people, I think years of crazy diets and all the things that we did to try to lose weight, that stuff adds up, and our body never forgets. And so, so I think that that's still an issue, but still the only way forward is to continue to eat a really nutrient dense diet and make sure that you're telling your body that you're in a state of abundance. And that's the most important thing. So, but on keto, I don't know. I felt like it comes off a little faster. But maybe that was because I don't know, more precise or focused on the scale. I was writing things down week by week, taking pictures, looking and paying attention. I got to know what the scale would do and when not to weigh. I don't know why, but I would gain like 5 pounds when I would go to the gym. And I don't know if maybe you guys did this too. You kind of get the idea of like every calorie you burn is going to reflect itself on as weight loss on the scale. And so you think to weigh yourself, in the locker room before you start working out. And if you weigh yourself afterwards, of course you should weigh less because you've just burned off all of these calories. But I would end up weighing more, and it was like, what? What is happening here? So I just had to learn to just not even go there, stay off the scale. Um, So, yeah, so Frank, you left the doctor and you went home and you had pig fat in the air crisper and spare ribs, laughing out loud. That is amazing. What an amazing meal. Yeah, I don't know, the doctors, like, it's really frustrating. And I don't feel like I was this bad before, but now, after the experience of watching my mom's illness and the way she was treated, and now the more I learn about the benefits of a ketogenic, way of living, like, it's very hard for me to trust the doctor and say, okay, what should I do? Like, I don't feel that they are a source of advice. I don't feel that they listen, or, that maybe they don't have the time to listen, or the latitude to do something different than, that than their manual is instructing them to do. So, yeah, I really do struggle with that, and I'd love to hear from you. Do you guys feel differently? After we just went through this worldwide health crisis, there's so many, conspiracy theories and whatnot, about, our medical industry. But it's a lot of them. It's hard to say no to. I mean, it's hard to to deny them. Um, but yeah, I think that so much of this stuff is just motivated by money. The money that we're spending on snack food and the money that we're spending on medications, and the fact that more and more people are just getting on medications, and I wonder, like, what the history books will say in 500 years when they look back on this time period, and they'll just be like, I don't know what's wrong with these people. Like, they didn't understand anything. They were eating all this crazy stuff that made them super sick, and they didn't seem to care. I don't know. but I really do wonder what, what history will ultimately have to say. It's assuming we survive and we don't, die out because of the way we're eating. But I do wonder what history will have to say. Um, Daisy says, so true. It scares me that we're given so much misinformation about diet and plant-based eating. I can't trust our experts. Um, I can't trust our experts. Yeah. Um, and Red Licorice Rifle says doctors want to prescribe drugs. That's it. Yeah, that's definitely how I felt. And the more as I do my carnivore, my monthly 21-day carnivore challenge, like I do an accountability call with everyone who's in the challenge. So, I really do want to hear about what's going on with you and what your goals are and how we can help you achieve them. But, in the course of those conversations, I get to hear from a lot of you about your struggles and the things that you have dealt with. And I'm surprised and shocked by some of, the stories of ways that people have just sort of been dismissed and treated in the medical field. And so they are, many of you are trying to treat like really big stuff kind of on your own, or those of you who are on insulin and trying to get off and told by your endocrinologist, I will not help you if you're going to follow a keto diet, and I'll put in your chart that you're, non compliant. It's like, what, are you trying to help people or not? Like, is it getting off of insulin like a better thing to do? So, yeah, so I know that, some of us are, really struggling along, and it's not fair. Like, it really isn't fair. And so for those of you who have pushed through and decided that you're gonna resist what you've been told, even if you don't have a lot of support, and you went out here and started Googling around and found, Dr. Berry or me or whoever, and decided to give this a try. Like, you are amazing for, for pushing back and being willing to think about this and give it a try. And I want to say thank you for, being willing to do it. And I hope that, I will be able to help you to, and this community can provide you the support to continue and to actually heal. But yeah, this is a big deal. What you've done is a big deal. Let's see. Michael says, I get raw pastured organic A2 cows, milk, and cheese directly from a farmer, and I love it, but I don't feel well with regular store-bought dairy. Yeah. So, Michael, I encourage other people to do that test between, raw dairy versus the regular store-bought pastured stuff. I'm not going to do it, but some people may do okay with the raw stuff. So I don't know. Um, Mommy does keto says, with all the prescriptions they write, you would think their handwriting would be better. Yes, yeah, you would think. Kimberly says, I think the junk food industry and the pharmaceutical industry are in collusion. Agreed. Definitely agreed. And Virgo Lady says, my doc prescribed me an omega-3. Bless her heart. I said, no, thanks. That was such a polite way of doing it, too. Bless your heart. No, thank you, ma'am. But yeah, you don't need omega-3. And a lot of us think, we need to load up on like the salmon and all of that stuff, but you don't. Once you take out all the omega-6, the omega-3 and the omega-6 balance out, because omega-6 and omega-3 occur naturally in all meat, and in all fats. But there's a much lower amount in the of omega-3 in like beef and so on. But you don't need that much in order to, sustain life. And if you're not having that much omega-6, you're okay. You don't need that much. Um, Okay, let's see. Oh, Steve Global Traveler, thank you so much. Thank you again for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Your support means so much to me. Somebody asked me earlier if I could set up a, I guess the not a subscription button, but set up the ability to join the channel, so that you can give a monthly support to the channel. So I don't know if that's of something that's of interest to you all. I was thinking about that, for people who are not able to be at the live stream, like, they'd be able to give. So I'll talk about that again later, but that's, I think, something I might do. Virgo lady, yes, we all have to advocate for ourselves. Um, and says, I heard that when there was a choice between germ theory and the basics of health, with nutrition, sleep, and sunshine, both being important, but germ theory chosen only. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess this is the history of the world. Like, somebody gets a bright idea and everybody goes with that. But, like, there were better solutions and perhaps cheaper solutions that, just didn't have as good an advocate. Ansel Keys was very loudmouthed and very, got himself out there. But all of these other people had good ideas that just got buried. Hey, Heather G, welcome. Anna says, I lost my mom last year. I am sorry for your loss, but it is tough. It affects our cortisol levels, sleep, weight loss, and blood pressure. Go easy on yourself. Oh, wait, Tracy, did I miss your message? Oh, I see. You just had a conversation with your doctor about a slightly elevated blood pressure. She wanted to add another blood pressure drug. Uh, I said, I don't think it's the stress. I just lost my mom. I said no to a new drug. Tracy, I'm so sorry you lost your mom. I definitely know how much of an impact that is and how difficult that is. So I'm so sorry. Um, so yeah, with blood pressure, it's delightful how quickly that tends to come down with a carnivore diet. So I would definitely give this a try and, and see and be, be pretty strict in the beginning and let the, diet do its magic. Although most people need a lot of salt, and then some people need very little salt and do, less well when they have too much. So that's something to pay attention to. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try the salt, but it's just interesting. There are some variations in bodies, and some bodies are different. Um, Okay, so Steve asked about flaxseed oil for omega-3 supplementation. No, don't do that. You don't need that. First of all, the form of um, omega-3 that's in flaxseed oil is, well, is it, well, it's in a form that has to be converted in order for our bodies to actually absorb it. And we aren't very good at doing that conversion. So, in fact, most of what's in the flaxseed oil, you don't, is not absorbable. And then, secondly, you don't need all of that omega-3 supplementation. So I would say, no, don't do that. And flaxseed oil, really not a great. It is not something that you need to eat at all. It's just animal fat that's necessary. Hey, Anna. Okay, so Kimberly says, yeah, so Daniel ate food without meat when he decided not to defile himself with the king's meat, and at the end of the time set, he was fatter than the one who ate meat. Um, says that was when doctors started choosing covering symptoms instead of finding the source of the problem of each individual. Yeah. I don't know whether it's just like doctors don't have the time. They're told like they can't. I've heard that doctors only have like 13 minutes per patient, and so they have to move them through. But I'm just like I don't know. I don't know if those are your problems. Those are your problems. But I need better care. Like, I need to have answers. I need to, it's my job to make sure that that I stay alive and that I thrive. It's, my only job in life is to keep myself alive. And so, I think that we're right to ask all of these questions. And frankly, I don't know why the American Heart Association did what they did. You saw the video that I published a couple of days ago about how they sort of slide in a low carbohydrate diet with other diets in talking about things that you can do to control your diabetes and heart disease. So I thought that was pretty stunning, but I don't know why they did that. I mean, there's been so much pushback from these institutions. So it seems, I don't know, there must be a lot of pressure, like, on the ground from people like us that, they feel like they have to, you know, they have to they have to find a way to support or talk, to somehow allow for this keto wave that is continuing on. It's not going away. So I encourage you all, actually. So Dr. Hampton and I had this long, interesting interview over the weekend, and we talked all about the article, and he had like amazing insights about it all. So he is going to release the episode, I think, tomorrow. So make sure you go to his YouTube channel. It's called Protecting Your Nest. Well, that's the name of his podcast, and I think that's what it's called. So if you Google that or Google Dr. Tony Hampton, it should come up. And yeah, the interview is supposed to drop tomorrow, so I'm very excited for it. I'd love to hear what you all think. Um, okay. And yeah, Red Licorice says, Hippocrates, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, So, oh no, Anna says I actually have COVID right now, but thanks to the last year losing 30 kilos, wow, and getting healthy, it's been more of a yucky flu than dangerous. Well, congratulations. I'm glad to hear that, Anna. And wow, I did not realize you lost 30 kilos. That is amazing. Thank you, Steve, Global Traveler. Hey, Chris, it's so great to see you. Heather G says, oh, I'm sorry to hear you have COVID, but happy that it's just an irritating cold. Yeah. And Tracy says, I've been tracking blood pressure for 4 weeks on carnivore and it's coming down. So I said no to adding a new blood pressure drug. I agree with you, Ada and Anna. We have to advocate for ourselves. Yeah, yeah. And I'm so glad that you did advocate for yourself. And why would and I wonder that too, like when you show a doctor, like, here are my numbers, they're coming down. Why would the doctor say, no, we need to add, another drug? It's like, do you not trust me? Do you not believe me? Like, are we not partners in the health thing here, or what? So I'm sorry that, Tracy, your doctor, did that, but I'm glad you stood up for yourself and said no. Susie, yeah, Dr. Hampton is awesome. Absolutely. So I encourage everybody to go and follow him and check out his interviews. And in fact, oh my God, totally meant to mention this. Terry McCurdy is another longtime follower of the Black Carnivore YouTube channel, and she's often here watching the videos and leaving comments in the replays. And he interviewed her. I guess she's in Chicago and became a patient of his. So her story is really fascinating. So I encourage you to head over there and check that out as well. Um, okay, so Anna says she found a low carb doctor who's made her life so much better, like she's working with me, not against me. So I get this question all the time. Are there any low carb or carnivore friendly doctors? And yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know. So well, I was going to point up here. So I will put a link in the description, but I made a video, 5 carnivore friendly doctors that you can reach out to. And you can, I think I made a playlist in my channel called Doctors on Carnivore or something like that. And so I think that video is in there as well. But yeah, you can check out those, and they treat remotely, so you don't have to live in the same state, except for Dr. Hampton. I think you have to live in Illinois to see him. Um, but yeah, if you and I think I want to just start polling people, because some people have told me, like one person told me she came and found the Black Carnivore community because her doctor told her to try a carnivore diet, and I was like, who is this doctor? Like, how did you just come upon a doctor? And this was just like a regular person, regular doctor, not anybody special. And I don't know how, but that was the advice that she gave. And so, this woman came and found us. But it was like, I would love to have a doctor such as that. Yeah. So Terry says, you hope you can get his son Brandon on. Oh, he's a ketovore. Okay, so Dr. Hampton's son is a ketovore and also has a podcast that incorporates Afrocentric dance and health. Yeah, I didn't. Well, I know that Dr. Hampton has been doing a lot of carnivore meals, so I'm not surprised. But I didn't know that his whole family has embraced it. So that's awesome. Exactly. Um, yeah. So Steve says, yep, remember the doctor works for you, not the other way around. Change docs if required. 100%. Yes. Um, Tracy says, thanks, because my endocrinologist turned on me. Now my internal medicine doctor is turning on me. Oh, Tracy, I am so, so sorry. That really sucks. And can you find another doctor? Like, these people need to be your partners. And even if they don't feel like you're making the right choice, like, they need to work with you. So I really hope that, you can find somebody else to work with. And I don't know if you need to like print out some scientific studies and just bring them with you and say, here's what I'm doing and this is what I'm doing. So, I want you to work with me and to help me to, take this relevant studies or the relevant tests so I can make sure that I'm doing okay. But yeah, I'm sorry that's happening. That really sucks. But, we support you, and ask the questions that you need to in the Black carnivore community. A lot of people have dealt with doctors, and frankly we have a lot of health professionals in the Black carnivore community as well. So ask questions and get support along the way. Yeah, and Virgo lady is supporting what what Steve the Global Traveler said. Yeah. All right, so we have had an amazing conversation. So out of this, well, first of all, there's a ton of people here, so please hit the like button and click subscribe. If you like the content here, I would love to keep bringing more of it to you, and I want YouTube to know that you like it and that you want to get more of this content. So please hit the like button. But secondly, so I think that in at least two areas, carnivore shines brightest, and then I think keto and carnivore probably, when it comes to the weight loss, maybe they fall on even footing. But so if you were wondering at the start of this whether to do keto or to do carnivore, I put my vote in for carnivore, and you see why. Um, but let me know, right? Actually, in the comments below, what you decide to do and what you think, and how would you vote? Because I think that it's helpful for people to kind of see this kind of discussed and to make their decision about what approach they're going to try. And I don't know. So I would like to get as many people as possible be willing to get on at least a carb restricted diet, if not a carnivore diet, and really see the magic that comes from making these metabolic changes, and it is nothing short of magical. So many of us have been, dealing with pain and all of these different things for decades, and taking medications and dragging through life. And, all we had to do was like take out broccoli and Brussels sprouts and stuff. Who knew? Who knew? Okay, everybody. So I'm going to wrap this up. We have had a lovely conversation. And yeah, I'm so happy that you've all been here with me. I really enjoyed this and I look forward to doing it again. So look forward to, I'm going to publish another interview for the Black Carnivore podcast on Tuesday. I have a video probably coming this weekend, maybe on Sunday, and Dr. Hampton's video is coming out tomorrow. And I have not announced this, and I need to put it out there, but I'm supposed to speak at Paleo FX and KetoCon. One Paleo FX I think is April 29th, and KetoCon is in I think June or July, both in Austin, Texas. So big honor, super excited about this. Really excited to get the message out there, and yeah, I mean, things are starting to pop off. So I thank you all for supporting and being part of this community, and yeah, looking forward to continuing this. This just in, I've been doing keto for a few months, but have had really bad inflammation and couldn't understand why. I just recently discovered carnivore and just never thought it was a thing. Thank you. Ah, okay. So I'm excited to hear what this just in discovers about the carnivore. Like, does that help with all the pain and everything else? Okay. All right, everyone. Have a great night, and I will see you soon. Thank you so much for being here, and have a great weekend.